everybody. Welcome back to another episode of First and Last. My name is Josh, and with me this week we've got Joe.
Hey, man.
And Jimmy.
What is up?
Nothing much. Spaghetti J.
Thanks for referencing. I don't even know where that came from anymore.
Like probably 100 episodes
is
ago.
Is it like did it come from like that Dane Cook joke with the he's talking about like crappy superpowers and there's like a person who shoots spaghetti from their fingers?
Yeah, it was that First and Last we did with the Dane Cook discs.
Yeah, just lined them all up.
Because I don't know what the reference is, but that's what I picture now.
We did the Dane Cook discography, First and Last spin-off show.
All the specials.
We did. I don't want to do that.
It'd be quite the journey, tell you what.
Well,
watch that weird Dane Cook movie where he's like learning how to like kill people from like what's his name? Michael Keaton. Maybe it's Michael Keaton.
What? He's learning to kill people like Michael Keaton?
Yeah.
The one with Jessica Simpson?
No.
Employee of the Month?
No, not the Walmart one. There's a movie that Dane Cook is being taught how to kill. He's like trying to learn how to become like a murderer.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Mr. Brooks?
Is that what it is?
And that's
Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner.
Michael Keaton, Kevin Costner.
That's their very
Waterworld, Batman, whatever.
vastly different films.
Fair.
That's what Mr. Brooks is about? I feel like I remember like a poster with Kevin Costner on it and thought it was like a finance thriller or something.
Yeah, you know,
he's teaching Dane Cook how to murder.
Yeah, it's a
well,
thriller.
because like Mr. Brooks is like a murder. Here you
he's
go.
like a serial killer.
A well-respected businessman is sometimes controlled by his murder and mayhem-loving alter ego, and I think that is.
Oh, so he also has a.
That is Kevin Costner, and then I
personality.
think Dane Cook like witnesses him do it, but then like wants to get in on it.
Oh, he's like, yo.
This movie's from 2000.
Yo, that was really smooth.
Yeah.
Teach me how you did that.
That movie's from 2007, and I know I've watched it once, and that was enough.
I don't remember Dane Cook in that at all.
Yeah, he's in it.
Did we go see that? Did we get like free tickets to the premiere of that?
Can't imagine I went to it and paid for it.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Is
2 for Mr. Brooks, please.
I'm very excited.
2 paid tickets
Could I pay
I would
double?
like to pay for this.
for both Kevin Costner
You
and
got this
Dane
in
Cook.
3D?
Demi Moore's in it.
Ah, Demi.
It's got to be worth $1 or $2, right? Just ask
I
Ashton
would
Kutcher.
pay $1 to watch most movies, I think.
Most movies?
Like, I'm trying to think of what's a movie that you wouldn't pay $1 to see in theaters.
Mr. Brooks.
Anyway.
I'd pay $1 to go see Mr. Brooks tomorrow in a movie theater.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I'd pay $1 for that.
They got
I
popcorn?
mean, anything. Just anything, though. It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
but I
it's
mean
Friday
that's
night.
not free.
Hmm.
Trying to run
Popcorn.
trying to run a $1 business here, Joe.
Popcorn, yeah, popcorn just normally actually does, though, cost about as much as the movie costs.
You throw in $1 popcorn and $1 movie, I'll see Mr. Brooks.
So
Dang.
$2. So that's $2 to see Mr. Brooks, but you get a snack.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, there we go. Solved it. Hey Joe, what's this podcast?
Not movies, nor Kevin Costner.
That's our other podcast.
Unless we need to backfill some shows, then next week we're doing Mr. Brooks.
Costner Pod.
Typically, we take a TV show and watch only the first and only the last episode. Nothing in between. Just the good stuff. Just where they meet everybody and then the wedding at the end.
For the most part. Or they move.
Just the weddings and funerals at the end.
Yeah, the wedding, the funeral, or they move.
They find out who's mom.
Yeah, they find out
whatever.
it's in a snow globe.
Oof. Man, I need to get back onto that train. I didn't think about that for this episode.
The Saint Elsewhere
Yeah,
universe.
so I was in charge of picking this episode, and yeah, I was deep into that for a while, trying to find shows from that, see how it connected, but that's not what I did for this one. For this one,
What did you do?
Yeah, for this one. So I've been watching a lot of Hulu because I thought of a show that I was thinking that I snubbed on the Best of the 2010s episode. And that show is It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh.
But that
Is
show
done?
It's still going.
Okay.
A. B. Most of my favorite episodes started in the aughts. Because it started in 05. So I'll save it for when we do best of the aughts.
Okay.
Fair enough. I'm starting to think you don't know what kind of podcast this is. Let's go. What show did you pick, James?
So anyway, so what I've realized is
He's stalling to figure out what show he's actually doing. He's like, oh shit, we can't do that. Anyways, I kept scrolling and then
look. So, unfortunately, with the release of Disney Plus, I did the whole Disney Plus bundling, like Hulu and ESPN. But what that I didn't realize was that cheaper like package is Hulu with ads. So I figured now I'm just gonna try to do Hulu shows here, so I don't have to watch the ads.
Because my Hulu doesn't have ads.
Because you pay for normal Hulu.
Right.
So I was looking at shows there, and have you guys ever seen Californication?
no, but it has the X-Files guy in it.
Yeah, David Duchovny.
Is it?
Fave.
I think it is about David Duchovny is maybe a writer or something, and he also really likes to have sex.
Yeah.
Yeah. For some reason, I haven't seen either of these shows, but I tie Californication to BoJack Horseman.
Keep going.
I think they might both have posters with them like sitting in pools or something and looking sad. I'll look that up after. But
One's a dog, an anthropomorphic dog. One is David Duchovny.
yeah, his face is horse-like. Yeah, no.
Sure.
I've never thought that.
I mean, for some reason, when you said that, I was like, yeah, that makes sense to me. So I don't know.
the same show, just in different universes.
It's like, yeah, it's kind of some highbrow, some sadness,
some
but
fornication,
some depravity.
Yeah.
This is probably not going to be a good Joe show.
Unless this show is about like a mid 2000s.
It's about Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah. It's about the recording of that album.
I think I remember when this show like originally came out. Also, do you know when it came out? We got stats or something for that.
Oh,
but I think when it originally came out, people were like
07 to 14.
People were like, this show it has like David Duchovny like having sex with a lot of people. Also, David Duchovny's a sex addict in real life, and I don't know if these were just like rumors.
Huh.
This is like,
well, yeah, okay. TBD.
I feel like that was a thing he went to rehab for in like the early 2000s or something.
is that so? I'm just trying to figure out. I'm not,
Interesting.
what a thing to be addicted
what the source
to.
Material is. So, I think I watched like the first season of this, and I don't know how I did that while it was on because I've never had Showtime in my life. Pretty sure. Maybe I did for 1 year. I guess.
Yeah. July 2011. Can David Duchovny recover from sex addiction? ABC News.
11? That was during this show.
So
Maybe this show made him an addict.
Yeah. So this show aired 2007 to August 2007 to June 2014, and it went 7 seasons, 84 episodes. Showtime, right?
Pretty good. Yeah, Showtime.
And so basically halfway through this show about David Duchovny banging his way through California, he went to rehab for banging his way through California.
Weird. So maybe he had some writing credits or some created by credits. I haven't looked into any of that yet.
Oh, hey, I was totally... The first sentence, this series revolves around Hank Moody, a novelist plagued by alcoholism.
Oh, also alcoholism. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So what I remember from 2007, which is some time ago now, is that he just like... He's a writer, and he's an aging writer, but like a suave aging writer, still banging everybody, but trying to fit into this like new age of abbreviations and stuff. And just his whole thing is that we're just ruining the English language.
Oh, that's what he's mad about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's just mad at this new younger the basically what would become the millennials, right?
Yeah. They weren't millennials. They
but
just
at the
weren't like
same
called
time-
that in 2007.
Yeah, right. But at the same time, he's just banging millennials, from what I
You gotta
remember.
You gotta do what you gotta do, I guess.
Hey man, millennials very bangable.
That's what him and Leonardo DiCaprio have in common.
That's what debt does to you. It makes you sexy.
Makes you. That's an interesting word for it.
How much do you owe? I'm getting hot already. All right.
Tet makes you sexy.
Joe, have you seen any of this show? Because I know I've seen a couple.
Not at all. Not nearly.
So can you walk us through the first episode?
We open up on David Duchovny in bed, surrounded by like 3 women. Then he asks them all to leave, and then he's like, "I gotta write my book." And then he has breakfast, scrambled eggs, a couple sausage patties, some avocados.
Like a couple avocados?
Yeah, he loves avocados. So he like slices up like 3 avocados, cores them, and just like cuts them up.
Eats the seed, the core
Yeah.
seed.
So you think like he's good in the kitchen then? He knows his way around a kitchen.
He knows his way around a kitchen.
Like Kingpin?
That's a common trope of this show is what he's making for breakfast. He's always making breakfast for the ladies.
What kind of novel?
He lets him stay for breakfast.
What kind of stories do you think he writes?
They're like very like
Erotic.
I was gonna say the opposite, just like very wholesome. I don't know if it's like kids books or something, or like self-help books about like putting your life together and like something like that, but just something where it's like you look at this guy and you're like, how can this guy write this book?
Yeah, I wanted to say he's like writing like Jason Bourne, Jack Reacher type stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm like,
Ooh.
he's not.
If David Duchovny wrote an action like thriller book, I'd read it.
I mean, if actual David Duchovny wrote
Yeah,
it, yeah,
for sure.
I would totally. I feel like he's writing like 50 Shades of Grey stuff.
Okay.
Think so.
Yeah.
I think whatever he's doing, he hates it, because that's just like what I feel like. He's just upset.
Yeah, I
That's
could
the character vibe that I get.
I could see him like being involved in I'm writing this book, but his manager or whatever, publicist,
Publicist.
is that what they are? They're like, hey, you need to write like the next installment of like this book, and he was like, I'm done.
51 Shades.
I'm done with that character. I finished the trilogy that I just wrote. It was done. And
Yeah.
he's like, doesn't want to do. Yeah, I would agree with you.
Okay,
Whatever
okay.
book he's supposed to be writing, I bet he doesn't want to do it.
All right.
You gotta put some challenges in front of him.
What still exist? What forms of media like that still exist in 2007? Is like, are blogs a thing?
Oh yeah. Oh
Is he
yeah.
writing?
I mean, he's a blogger and not a writer.
op-eds?
I mean, the Wikipedia says
Like
he's
what?
a novelist.
I'm trying to think of what new media that he has to do that he's just like upset about having. Like, what is this Zanga post I'm doing?
Oh no.
Yeah, I hope he's writing on Zanga.
He just runs a Tumblr page.
Yeah, he's got like a WordPress, and he's got to write like op-eds about celebrities nobody cares about. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Joe, I appreciate you just texting us in the room the cover of the Californication
Yeah, Californication
season
1 and BoJack Horseman
Oh,
also maybe season 1. It's both just like a dude in a robe at the pool.
yeah, holding a drink.
That's amazing.
It's similar. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we got to do this in tandem with BoJack Horseman. I
Next
think that
week?
show's done too.
Oh really?
I think so.
Oh.
Dang. All right.
I've seen like 15 minutes of that show.
I've seen one episode for sure. I've seen it of that one, and I loved it.
Yeah.
that.
it
I saw for
was-
sure the first season is really good.
I won't say it. It's basically someone tells a joke at the beginning of this episode, and at the very end they like pay the joke off. But they spend a long time telling this joke at the beginning, and it's not funny at all. And at the end they like pay it off, and most people in the room that I watched it with was like, I don't get it. And I was like, that was genius. That was amazing.
I think BoJack Horseman is like, well, that is just not at all what we're doing today. But it's like a adult cartoon that's like smart, like Arrested Development, but like
It is Will Arnett,
but also just depressing.
Yeah, I've heard it's real sad.
Just depressing, but it's like witty and smart that like you're still somehow like satisfied and like yeah, the world sucks kind of.
Oh, also, before we get into episode 1 of Californication, Mr. Robot Watch 2020.
Yeah,
I watched the second episode from before.
Just one episode.
Yeah, in this
Every week you're gonna say I watched
in
the
this
next
in this
episode.
week. I watched the next episode,
Tight. That
And-
first season's dope.
and so and I was like,
Nice.
that was fun.
What is that on?
USA.
Amazon
Or
Prime.
Amazon.
.com?
Yeah.
Amazon. Nice.
Amazon.com/Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, you just emailed Bezos and he sent you a link.
He just sends you a
Yeah,
link.
do we have to watch cuz did that make the FNL top 10 or was that just like Joe's top 10?
For Mr. Robot.
Yeah, wasn't that one?
Oh,
Oh,
I'm not 100% sure where it landed. I know
We'll have to-
Supernatural made
Hey,
it.
tweet
made
at
it.
us listeners if you know
if you
where.
keep track of these things.
You should probably write that down. I was just going to say like do we need to in 2020 watch all the shows that we haven't seen yet? For sure we've seen some of them, but
There's potentially there's a spreadsheet somewhere that I have that says what we said. On
it's
that
in the
podcast.
Googles. It's in the
Says
cloud
what
somewhere.
we said.
Yeah, we said it somewhere.
You guys got a prediction for number of boobs?
Oh, 6.
An over
6
under.
boobs.
I'm going to go under 5 boobs.
Okay.
You don't want to participate. You just wanted to.
I think if we're saying 5 is the over under, I think I'll take under.
How many butts?
Talking bare butts.
Yeah.
I think we get a Duchovny.
Including
Oh,
Duchovny
Duchovny butt.
butt.
We definitely get a
butt, for
Duchovny
sure.
butt.
I think maybe just one Duchovny butt.
I'll
we
say
all
that.
get a point. If
I'll say
there's
this.
one
Right, I'll
Duchovny
say
butt.
this right now. If we don't get a Duchovny butt, I'm not watching the last episode.
Oh, come on, man.
You guys, I'll just sit here and you guys can tell me what it
Yeah.
was like.
Let's place a shot bet on a Duchovny butt. Or
Well, I can't
something.
do that.
Yeah, you're doing January.
Yeah, I'm not drinking in January
January.
because that's what cool kids do in January. So I'm gonna drink my LaCroix,
Haven't been
and we'll
cool
see
yet.
you after the first episode of Californication.
Called Pilot.
Damn it.
Called This Is My Butt.
And we're back. We finished the first episode of Californication, and we saw 8 boobs
So many boobs.
and 1 Duchovny butt.
Duchovny. Duchovny.
I can't believe it.
I'm just
What do you mean you
happened so
can't
fast.
believe it?
Okay, I just can't. I'm just floored that it happened within minutes,
Gotta show off that butt.
and it was probably the only boat we saw.
It was the only butt we saw.
Mm-hmm.
They made a very big choice to only show the top half of women and the bottom half of Robert Downey
David
Jr. We're
Duchovny.
just talking about Robert Downey Jr. Oh boy, I was like, yeah, he's probably got a good butt.
Probably. He's Iron Man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Do you have a write up?
Sure do. It's about Robert Downey Jr.'s butt.
It's just a fanfic you just wrote.
Okay, this is the pilot of Californication. A one-night stand causes writer Hank Moody to be late in meeting his 12-year-old daughter Becca at home, much to the disgust of ex-girlfriend Karen. Then a romp with a hot bookstore shopper will upend Hank's life in ways he could never imagine. After Becca sneaks out to a party, Hank and Karen go in search of their daughter. Later, Hank and Karen have a heart-to-heart where he admits he wants her back, but she reveals she's engaged to another man and is moving on.
She's engaged to a man named Bill.
Bill.
In that bookstore
Bookstore gal's dad.
And that's Bill's daughter named Mia, and she's 16.
Full on 16.
And Joe, let's talk about that.
Come on, man. Should we go to predictions?
So yeah, in this episode, I mean, like, so I think David Duchovny's character Hank has sex with like 4 different people in this one episode in 33 minutes.
It's impressive.
Not even. So I mean, basically, he is like his ex Karen, who they have a 12-year-old daughter with, and
12, 13.
she was basically
Between.
she was like, "You're just banging all these hoes to like get back at me" or something like that. He probably kind of is.
Yeah, there's some element of he wants her back.
It's definitely a coping element of some sort. And he's a writer, and he had a movie come out based on his book,
Right.
but he like doesn't like the movie.
The book is called God Hates Us All.
Yep.
And then the movie is called Crazy Little Thing Called Love.
Yeah.
And just to like hardcore illustrate like how different the book is from the movie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And then
Classic.
And then so then I mean, Hank definitely loves his daughter, but he's and then he definitely is like trying to get back with his baby mama, Karen. And then he bangs the wrong girl. Apparently a 16-year-old girl.
He meets a girl at a bookstore because he's just like trolling for puss at the bookstore, as you do.
Well, he's like
his own book.
Yeah, he's hanging around his own book.
Yeah.
And there's a girl looking at his book.
Yeah, and it feels like, knowing now about like the reveal at the ending, it feels a little bit like she was trying to like trap him. Like she knew.
Well, and that's the thing. Like,
interesting.
this girl is Bill's daughter, and
So
she
she would
lives
know.
with Hank's daughter and his ex.
Right.
So she's got to know what Hank looks like.
Yeah. And she just happens
knows
to
who
be
he is.
She happens to just be at the bookstore, like reading his book, like at a bookstore he would be at, and then talks to him and stuff.
How many days in a row is she just hanging at this bookstore with his book in her hand?
Yeah.
So she.
Yikes, I never thought of that. That's gross.
And that's why entrapment is illegal. You can't set people up like that.
So you're saying his statutory rape was legal? Because
no, I'm not. No. Hey, now.
that's what I heard him say. Play the tape back.
I mean, I didn't say those words, but and so then yes, they have a meeting of the generals.
Of the generals.
Is that what you call sex?
They show Hank having sex with this girl he meets at the bookstore, and then it turns out later that it's his ex-wife's like boyfriend's 16-year-old daughter. To which I was like, is that
betrothed?
like, it seems like you can't portray a 16-year-old having sex in a movie.
And it's not like we like just like portrayed it like we saw her like boobs.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, in a way, it's like you just showed me who I'm supposed to believe is a 16-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Who's like not. She's like the actress is like 25.
Right.
When the show
the time
or
of
something like
filming.
that. Yeah.
So
But
technically legal, but portraying a person who's underage, that seemed dicey to me.
I mean it's morally ambiguous at best. But I mean it's probably legal, obviously, because they did
and
it.
also
They did it
at
'cause
worst.
David Duchovny is not currently in jail.
Best
Yeah.
and
Or at
at
least
worst.
since I Googled, but
But like we were talking about it a little bit before, and I was like, well, take any high school movie that you have. Like Mean Girls is also a good example, or like Superbad. They're all supposed to be in high school.
right.
Do you see boobs in that?
I'm sure you see boobs in Superbad.
McLovin has sex.
Right.
I don't know. I just wanted to let that soundbite go.
I also feel like I read that like McLovin himself like was underage during the time of filming, so like his mom had to be on set when they were like filming his sex scene.
He was that young?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like that was a long time
He
ago,
looks
and
pretty
Jonah
young.
Hill was probably really young too.
Yeah.
And it was Michael Cera.
Mm-hmm.
They were probably really young 20s, if anything.
Yeah, and like McLovin was like, you know,
17.
just shy of 18
Yeah.
at the time of filming, so like his mom
Crazy.
had to be on set.
But like, you
Sign
know,
off on boobs.
there's
Hey,
all
Mom,
these.
Can you sign this form?
Can you sign this form so I can see boobs all at work? There's all these high school
Mom.
movies that like have 25 to 30-year-old actors who are all like super hot, and they're doing nothing but sexualizing all these presumably kids. They're not saying like these are all kids in high school, but they're all 18. Like they're not, they're not saying that.
Yeah.
But like this show did it like one more where it just very specifically was like, here's this girl's boobs. She's 16.
She's 16.
Not only was she, oh well, actually there was a lot of weird sex stuff in this, but she popped him in the eye a couple of times.
Punched him. Yeah.
And it seemed like that was her like kink. That was like her fetish.
Or maybe she knew who
set
he
it up.
was. Like, you know, now that you like think that she might knew who she was, maybe she was just, that's not a thing she likes. She just wanted to hit him for some reason.
Yeah,
she's
leave
like,
some evidence.
Because she's like, I can do whatever I want. There's no way like anything bad's gonna happen to me.
I feel like the dialogue that happened surrounding the punches made me think that there was a legitimate fetish surrounding it.
Right. Interesting also though, like Hank got tricked, and now, I mean, presumably his life's in dire straits. But like, in an extremely lesser way, but like us as the viewer literally got tricked too. We were like, oh, this is a hot chick, and he's like banging her, and it's like cool. And then like later, like, oh crap, she was 16. Like, you know, but she wasn't. But like you think about it for a second, and you're like, ooh, so like. Now we feel really, dirty about it.
Yeah.
Like his character feels dirty
brought
about
us
it.
into the character's like depravity.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
I don't necessarily appreciate that, but they did that.
Yeah.
So we can
Thoughts, Joe?
we can move on from that specific scenario, but I do have a question for Joe though, because obviously like his like sexcapades in the show really kind of do have to do with what his character's dealing with, or like how he's coping with it.
Sure.
But it's maybe a little excessive for whatever. As someone who definitely does not appreciate sex in their shows, how did you feel about this episode of TV?
I think it's the worst episode of TV I've ever seen. Like, I don't think it's an exaggeration. I don't think I've hated a TV watching experience more than this episode.
Okay.
Wow.
And I think it's even just like more than the sex, but just like the sheer douchiness of this guy. And that just like, I get the vibe that like David Duchovny and the writers like don't see this guy as like a hero and something like kind of aspirational, and not really that he's just a major douche. Like there's a whole scene where he's in a movie theater and there's a guy like in front of him just straight up having a conversation on a cell phone in the movie theater. And then so David Duchovny like he like takes the phone from him and like throws it, and then like ends up like beating up the guy, and then the entire like movie theater cheers.
I mean, I would have clapped if I was in that movie theater.
Yeah, but it's just like it just feels so much like, oh man, wouldn't it be tight to just like beat up on those people that talk in a movie theater? We're gonna have our character do that, and like and people are gonna cheer for him and love it.
I mean, I guess I am curious on like
didn't make a ton of sense.
What people thought when they finished this first episode, especially when the show came out.
Yeah,
where they were like, "That David Duchovny's a cool dude."
Yeah,
like or like that Hank Moody. David Duchovny is a cool dude. He was in the X-Files, but like that Hank Moody is cool. I want to be like him.
Yeah,
I want to drink all the time.
But it's like that scene at the theater, and then there's another scene where like he's kind of like on a double date with his like agent, I think. And the girl that he's set up there with, like, he's not getting along with, and then...
Well, he's not trying to get along with her.
Yeah,
really,
and she's like, oh, why don't you, if you think you know me so well, why don't you tell me about myself? And then, like, he goes on this long tirade about how she's, like, fucking boring and the worst. And then she gets upset and leaves, so we're meant to think that he's like totally right, but it's another thing where it's just like, oh man, like this guy's totally so much better than everyone, and like he could totally like dress people down, and he just says what he thinks and he tells it like it is.
He's a regular Sherlock, that Hank Moody.
It's kind of like it's did you guys ever watch Louis, the Louis C.K. show?
No.
So actually so his agent Charlie's wife, I think, is Marcy.
Mm-hmm.
Her name's Pamela Adlon, and she's in the show Louis with Louis C.K.
Okay.
And that whole show is basically just, it's Louis, and he just walks around, and he just kind of makes just his life is just he makes bad choices, and his life is just kind of shitty, and he like does, and he kind of like sets stuff up like this where he's like mean to people and rude, and but like it's like a similar way, only it's actually like sad.
Yeah,
where I feel like this is Hank Moody's like, you're supposed to like feel bad that he's ruining his life, but then he's like, but he's also like the hero and just shitty.
You can have like an anti-hero character, and a lot of like dark comedies are like that, where you see
like for Gossip Girl, for instance, like when that guy like
Oh,
sexually
God.
assaults that woman in the first episode, and in the end episode he's like a hero, like that.
Whoa.
not quite like that.
No, not like that. Fuck you, Gossip Girl.
But like there's like shows where like
XOXO.
shows or movies that center around an awful person, and there's some enjoyment about seeing an awful person do things that you wouldn't personally do because you're a good person, and I get that enjoyment, but like it's typically within the context of like, no, but this is an awful person, and it feels like this Californication show is like missing that extra like little sprinkle of like, it seems too like self-satisfied in like the things that it's doing, and it's just like, we're fucking making a tight show where a guy bangs everybody and like gets the best of everyone, and who cares? Also, he boned a 16-year-old. And I'm just like,
Ooh.
shut up, show. Stop smirking at me.
Yeah. Maybe this like first season will go on, and his life will tank more and more. But yeah, they didn't. Like,
Well,
even
it
with
also
the like movie that he hates that's on his own thing and stuff, it's still
the show
just, like,
starts with him
still living a great
like
life.
having like his whole problem is he has writer's block. He can't come up with anything to write. And then at the end of the episode, he's able to sit down at his computer and write the word fuck, right? Because his life is spiraling out of control. But it's like also like the one thing that might have turned his life upside down, where he accidentally bones a 16-year-old, it's turned into a positive because now he can write. Right?
Right.
Like, it's like, oh, fuck, that might have been messed up, but my writer's block is gone, and it's just like, another win for fucking Hank. Literally fucking Hank.
10 out of 10. Joe would watch again.
I hate it. I
The
hate
second
it. The worst.
episode, it just pulls up the computer, and it's just the word fuck like 100 times.
I feel like I even hate the people who like possibly like this show. Like, you're terrible too.
Like if it gets more,
Maybe they're like, some people probably watched this show and been like, this is awful, but like I need to keep seeing why.
Just want to see the car crash.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Everyone slows down, you know.
I think when I watched it, David Duchovny in general is just pushed me through a season of it with my roommate. But yeah, I feel like it's trying to have that quality of like this poor guy, like this guy is just screwing up, and it's getting crazier and crazier and out of control, and where you actually like feel for him, because you don't really feel for him at all.
Yeah. I feel like I also specifically hate tropes about like writers or producers living in LA, or it's just like it's just too like self-referential for me, or it's just like I'm a writer, I'm gonna make a show about a writer who bones all the time, and I'm just like, fuck you.
Well, I mean, it's also
it's
just
harsh.
like, could you write a story and just not write about your like dumb life?
Yeah,
Kinda
can you just
something.
like just give it 1 degree of
Like,
separation?
Show
out?
me that you're an actual writer and write about something instead of what you just did today.
Yeah,
Okay, but isn't that like what Zach Braff did when he did Garden State?
yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
That I don't.
But
I'm
that's
not into that
a story
either.
that you don't see.
It's just like a trope, especially about California. It's especially a trope that I hate about just like I hate like songs about California because it's just like, yeah.
But okay, Zach Braff at least did it in not California, but
Sure.
also it was presented in a like very interesting way. This was literally just like he wakes up, bangs
the
somebody,
beginning of
moves
that
on to a
movie, he was
thing, has a
literally
fight with his like
in
ex, bangs somebody.
LA.
Like they cut the axe in this episode of TV based on when he banged. And it was like, okay, now scene change, tits, scene change, tits.
Like if Showtime doesn't have commercials, right? Because it's like network.
No
Or
clue.
it's not. It's premium, whatever I'm trying to say. It's just like I just thought literally for a second, were there boobs and then a commercial?
It was poor man's HBO is what Showtime is. All right, cool. So Joe, we're gonna have to watch one more episode
God.
of this.
Oh
So
my
sorry.
god.
But also, I do think this is 7 seasons long. I think the first couple seasons are gonna be wild like this. I feel like the show's gonna calm down a lot.
Sure.
Like I just kind of don't think it can stay at this pace. There's just no way.
Just much less.
Who is gonna
Much
stick around?
boobless.
Like the lowest of the low degenerates are gonna watch 7 seasons of this one episode that we just watched. Could you imagine if the show was like this for 7 seasons, like 84 episodes of just
Yeah.
this episode?
Just keeps
I mean,
writing and banging.
every like Showtime show and HBO show starts with like at least 8 boobs.
Like even Game of Thrones like lost boobage over time. Like
Yeah, you could probably. I'm sure there's like a chart. There's a graph.
boob
far
to
as
season ratio.
Boob versus time.
Boobs,
I had a couple
boob
other
sag
thoughts.
over time.
Just that it had there like the opening is the Rolling Stones song. You can't always get what you want. That probably cost some money. And then there was a fun some sort of David Bowie cover at the end during the montage of like touching flashback.
A lot of very expensive licensed music in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know he got that Showtime money.
Got that Duchovny money. He's just blowing it on the soundtrack.
Karen, did you guys recognize Karen at all?
I mean,
Is that his ex-wife?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, ex-girlfriend. I guess.
Where do you want
the
me to
whole thing they
recognize
never
her
got-
from? I recognized her, but
I recognized her from the Truman Show.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Yeah. I knew she was in the
Okay.
Truman Show as well.
Cool.
I love the
Cool,
Truman
cool.
Show.
Truman Show's a good
And
movie.
then Becca, the kid. Apparently, she was in Hemlock Grove. I feel like that's been on. Isn't that
The
a
Netflix show,
isn't
right?
that Netflix with
Uh,
Xenia on top? What's her name?
Famke
Famke.
Janiston, I think is her
Yeah.
name. You went
Jean Grey.
Yeah. Jimmy had to go James Bond right away, and then
Then Marvel.
and then Nerd.
Anyway, she's also in Marvelous Miss Maisel, which is an amazing show on Amazon that you should definitely
People
be
have
watching.
said things about that show being good.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Maybe we'll get to it.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Should we do some predicals?
Yeah, you go first.
Oh, okay. Number 1, Hank's getting married. Because this is not a show that's above just doing what you would normally do in a finale at all. I don't expect much from this finale at all. Haven't actually looked up if it was canceled or if it's finale, but I'm assuming.
I mean, probably finale went 7 seasons.
Yeah.
I'm sure they went, how the shit did we make it this far?
So I'm basically assuming there's a lot of the tropes. I think Becca is graduating college or is like a recent grad trying to figure out life. I think Charlie the agent is divorced and that somehow comes into play from Marcy. And I think Hank has some sort of big book out, some big new novel.
book?
He beat the writer's block. He's got a big new book out.
Okay.
That's it.
I realize that these are related, but they're not intended to be. But I have that Hank dies.
Joe's wish list.
Yeah. Hank dead. But I think before that, yeah, let's say before Hank dies, there's a cemetery scene. So living Hank in a cemetery,
little-
but then later
So
he
the
dies.
cemetery scene is like not his funeral. That's
Yeah.
basically what you're saying. Got it.
I think there's a Red Hot Chili Peppers reference. I did read on Wikipedia that the Chili Peppers actually did sue over the name.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Did
but
they
then
win?
the show was just like, you don't have a case, you never trademarked it, and they were like, huh.
Oh, what? Where's my sock?
Oh yeah. Dang.
And
Because they probably checked before
Yeah,
they
yeah.
named the
They're
song
like-
that.
And that's what, like, the, like,
Absolutely,
lawyer-
that's somebody's job.
lawyer or producer or whatever said, like, well, they never trademarked it. Like, if they did, like, we would have just named it something else.
Californication.
Mother truckers.
They would have called it By the Way. I was just trying to come up with another Chili Peppers album, and I realized I don't know any of the names anymore. Is the one after that called By the Way?
Yeah, sure.
Either way, that joke didn't land, so who cares?
You'll hear that in your left ear because it wasn't funny.
Okay, then my last prediction is that Becca, Hank's daughter, writes a book.
Well, good for Becca.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Mine are not the same as all of yours. Mine, well, sort of.
Interesting.
Mine, I think Hank has a movie coming out based on his new book,
Okay.
but he's like into the movie,
Okay.
so it's like
Ooh.
the opposite of what's happening.
Who's
in
the
first episode.
director?
Joss Whedon.
Okay. So it's a space western.
Yeah. I think he wrote a book called Fuck.
Okay.
I don't know I don't know how we're gonna get that to be known unless that's the book that the movie's
Mm-hmm.
But I think his one sentence "fuck" at the end of episode 1
Mm-hmm.
is the name of his new book. I think he's married to Karen.
Okay. They
think
get back together.
Yeah, I think they get back together. And I don't think Becca is in this episode. No Becca.
Okay.
Ooh.
Cool. We'll see.
Okay.
You just drop the daughter. This isn't like Family Matters. What is this?
I mean, drop the. It's from what else he did. I mean, we gotta drop the daughter before he tries to do something with her too.
God.
All right. Well, let's watch this finale. We'll put Joe out of his misery.
Yeah. Load it up.
30 more minutes, Joe, and you never have to watch it again.
I'll hold my nose. Have a beer. It'll be fine.
All right, cool.
Watch out for boobs.
All right, we'll see you after the finale of Californication. Don't sue us, Red Hot Chili Peppers. And we're done with Californication.
Done with Californication.
Oh, so he can do it, Josh?
I can,
God damn it.
Well, change the words.
I can cut you off.
That
before-
little bitty ting makes all the difference.
Yeah, if
that
you
little bitty ting.
If you sneak it in the middle, I can't do anything about it.
That's from that clip of Vanilla Ice talking about how Ice Ice Baby is different from Under Pressure. He's like,
because the one extra.
my beat goes dun 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 dun. It's that little bitty ting.
Wow. What an
It is.
asshole.
It is technically different. Now he flips houses. Do you have a write-up for us, Jim?
Yeah, I do. This shit show was called Grace. The day finally comes. Can Marcy and Charlie go through with Stu's offer to bang Marcy for $1 million? Hank confronts his feelings about Becca's wedding and makes the difficult choice between spending his future with Julia or Karen. So, I guess Julia must be Heather Graham.
Must be.
I gathered that he has some history with Heather Graham.
They have
And-
a kid together?
And then they have a kid together
A piece of shit kid together?
who looks nothing like either of them.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sometimes, I mean, you know, sometimes when two very attractive people make a kid, they make a real ugly object.
Ugh,
But he's got like
wow.
dark curly hair, and I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, what side are you from, guy?
From what I learned about genetics,
There's
Something.
some RNA
Recessive.
in working there.
yeah, recessive
Some
genes
recessive, ugly genes.
for the win.
Was that the whole write-up?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, he like had some kid. He has so we got the like previously on sort of thing where we found out like his daughter was decided to get married,
Mm-hmm.
and then she was just gone, and then he had like a dream right away that she said, "I'm not gonna get married,"
Mm-hmm.
and then that ended up being a dream. Karen is flying to New York to see the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
David Duchovny, Hank, isn't going to go, but then he like goes on this like tirade of like, I'm gonna fix everybody in my life
Mm-hmm.
and like do good.
Mm-hmm.
And so then he like helps Stu and Marcy, or he tries to like, he goes and talks Stu into like not letting his wife like bang this old dude for $1 million.
Yeah, they're in some sort of weird indecent proposal,
which is
thing going
just
on.
the plot to Indecent Proposal. And I was like, really? You just redid it? Like, if
Yeah.
anything, I'm assuming they probably went, this is just Indecent Proposal. Like, they probably said it in the show, and my
They
God, if
probably
they
did, yeah.
didn't, like, then you very much ripped it off. That was just lazy.
probably
I like the
did.
minute I heard what there was like $1 million, I'm like, I hate this.
yeah. Okay.
They didn't even come up with a different
Yeah.
dollar amount. Like, you know?
$2 million.
Yeah.
It's different.
100.
And an Indecent Proposal was in like
$1
94.
billion.
So like
lot
adjust
of
for
money in 94.
inflation at least, you know?
Yeah.
Just what if they did
So-
that? Yeah,
It's almost a decent proposal.
a pretty standard boilerplate. Stu.
$1 million? That was good in 94.
I will say, Stu. Well, I don't know. Maybe he's just taking on more and more roles that just like freak me out. Because like, I feel like he first started appearing in things in very like wholesome like 90s sitcoms and stuff, and then he was the weird teacher that got fired in Glee in the like first episode for coming on to students. And he's in like the first season of Glee, and
I mean, David Duchovny should have got
kind of freaky.
fired in the first episode
they-
of the show for coming onto a student, if you know what I mean.
Oh,
Not allowed to laugh at that.
and I'll
You'll go to jail if you laugh at that.
Anyway, and now he's just totally he's totally gone off the rails
Yeah.
in this role. He's got a sex doll that looks just like Marcy. I had to think of her name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was weird.
Very weird.
Sex doll.
That was weird.
Clearly Charlie's into some weird sex stuff going on too. So, but not clear if they're divorced or not. Seems like they're still seemingly together.
Oh, I think they're fully together. Yeah. They were like, I
He
love
tried to
you,
bang-
and yeah, they were great.
He tried to bang Hope.
I don't know. Who
He
knows?
couldn't get it up with Hope, who was
Oh, the
the
prostitute?
gal from the Newsroom. You should watch it. It's an amazing show.
I heard it was on someone's top 10 list of the decade or some shit.
Yeah, I didn't think about watching that today. Next time. Next time.
Newsroom.
And then there was Julia and her kid, who it seems like, from what I gathered, was Julia had a kid for when she had relations with Hank at some point
Yeah.
in the past, and
Seemingly 20 years ago.
I feel like this was like a season 5 thing where they were like,
You
we
have a son now."
need to add something. Give him a son.
And make him like a dweeb or something so we
Yeah,
can
yeah.
fix him.
Yeah, make him the opposite of what he is, so then you can see like the weird dichotomy of like that's just like been done again.
I feel like that kid is just like a Jonah Hill like trope thing now, that like you just have like a curly haired kind of pudgy kid
Yeah, except but the problem with that is Jonah Hill's funny.
Yeah, true. That's true.
If Jonah Hill
like
was his kid in the show, that would have been like hilarious.
It's kind of like the crappy son from GTA 5.
Nice.
You know that? Okay.
So yeah, there was that, but then he ended up. It looked like he was gonna maybe get together with Julia.
Mm-hmm.
And Hank kept turning down having sex with multiple women in this episode.
Yeah.
He doesn't have sex with.
They made a point.
He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't do that anymore. He's a
Mhm.
good guy now.
Yeah.
It feels like he just changed this episode. Like the way they were making it
possible.
look, it looks like he literally just changed this episode.
We didn't see a single boob, did we?
Yeah, we did.
Did we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other people had sex.
Oh.
Yeah, we saw other
I'm sure they
boobs.
did.
And we only saw one butt, and
Oh,
it was
yeah, the
also a
weird
dude
British
butt.
guy.
So they only see dude butts.
We saw a dude butt in this?
Yeah, we saw Stu's butt.
Stu's butt.
Oh.
You blocked it out of your memory.
Apparently I missed that. I feel
Um,
like I would remember
David Duchovny
Steven
grabbed
Tobolsky's
it.
butt. He did?
Yeah, when they hugged.
Oh, not Stu. It was the lawyer.
Oh,
Charlie.
Charlie.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, saw Charlie's butt. Oh, so I forgot to talk about him in the other section is that he's like a very recognizable, notable guy from Sex and the City.
Mm-hmm.
He's like one of the gals' husbands.
I thought his
He's in
butt
a
looked
bulk
familiar.
of a show.
I recognize
remember
that.
that
ass.
I've seen that butt. Where have I seen that butt?
Yes.
Josh, show me your butt.
When I was
Butts
having
in the city.
when I was having sex in the city. But then
Ethan Handler says
Hank didn't go on a date with Julia and like woo her. He sent some other dude who seems like must have been from Julia's past as well.
Yeah, more recent past or something. Because they're like, oh, he must have put us together. That guy.
Wiley.
what a guy.
Classic
guy.
Hank.
And that's the guy from Sopranos
Yeah.
who was causing trouble in
In
the
an
pilot.
Obvious wig.
Yeah, that was a weird
really
choice.
silly wig.
Very odd choice.
So he did that, and then he drove to the airport and wrote a letter to Karen
Uh-huh.
about how he like wants to be with her,
Right.
and then he just left his car with the door open in the middle of the road.
Because they like couldn't start it.
It wouldn't start.
It just wouldn't start all of a
Yeah.
sudden, and then he ran to the airport, caught up the same plane that Karen caught,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
read the letter to her, and won her heart.
Mm-hmm.
And then it ended with them flying to their
Flying to
daughter's
Becca's
wedding.
Yeah.
in New York.
No, it actually ended on the shot of the car sitting in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
Just infuriated me a little
The
bit.
door
more.
still open.
Yeah, sometimes you just have a junker that, it just dies where it dies, man.
I mean, sure.
What if they cut back to him and he's just like, oh shit, my car.
Oh, I
No.
Did I
forgot.
just leave that there?
I was really
He
drunk.
kissed it goodbye. He gave it a little.
Yeah, he said goodbye.
gave it a little peck. 7 years of this Porsche.
Joe Hate 2020. Where does this episode land on your hatred scale?
It wasn't like it was so whatever that I couldn't muster up the energy to even hate it. It was just sort of like, okay, I guess we're doing the things.
I did catch, like, at least in the first episode, it was just like what you said earlier was like they're trying to make this douche like be somebody you want to cheer for, which nothing he done is like admirable or worth our time.
Uh-huh.
And then in this episode, I was like, they're just doing things that every other show's already done. They added a kid because they ran out of content.
Uh-huh.
They did Indecent Proposal. Like he catches her out. Like he didn't catch her in the airport. He caught her on the plane and read a thing. And now he's like a good guy.
He knows the right thing to say to everybody to like fix them.
Right. Well, and he especially knows the right thing to say, like, while writing it down on a paper to like do a love thing. He's a writer. Like, he could have wrote anything, and I bet he would have known how to do it.
Yeah, I didn't find the letter particularly moving.
Yeah, it was just like,
Considering it
I'm
was a
sorry,
finale.
I screw up all the time.
Yeah.
It ends with like that shrug,
You
like
into this?
emoji.
You into this?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, I would say that the sex part of the show, and it doesn't really bug me. I don't really care, but that doesn't. I don't. Whatever. But I'm starting to see what I feel like is, how did the show go 7 seasons when it seemingly, from first and last, that it's not very original, is what I'm getting out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it doesn't seem to really, I mean, and it apparently had some like acclaim, like it won some Emmys, and the 6th season I read was like its highest rated season, so it like only went up.
Yeah.
And then, but it doesn't really seem to do the things well that it's trying to do, like the tortured artist thing. You do not really get that vibe.
There's another thing that like he's supposed to be a good writer, and it's like he fucking wrote a letter and it's still not good.
Yeah, is this
like,
okay?
What?
So there must be. I assume and hope that there's actual like good writing, like at least like in the first season, he gets out of his writer's block and you see some stuff. I don't know.
You think he like Doogie houses it and he's just like typing in his typewriter?
Yeah, for sure. In his Mac 2.
Dear
Apple
journal.
2. Yeah.
Yeah, it's it just feels very much up its own butt, and like he's like fixing everything, and then
literally
amongst
and
that,
figuratively,
like everybody's still trying to have sex with him, and now he's turning it down, which makes it feel even more smug.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought, yeah, Josh like mentioned, like thought that it would be less about like the sex stuff. I feel like it was almost more. It was like we're just leaned into the perversion of the
They
people
really
who are
wanted,
watching this show.
They had to lean into it for everybody else besides Hank to show to you like how like Hank has grown or like changed.
Yeah.
Like that's what this episode did.
I just got the feeling that like this has just become what this show is. It's just how
I'm sure it's the main appeal of the show.
Can we be?
Also, Heather Graham was only in 9 episodes of this show, so it looks like she was only in the last season.
Okay.
And the last season was 12 episodes.
There were some other like big cameos in this show.
Right, but I mean that presumably would mean that like literally like it wasn't even a season 5. It was last season throwing a kid to like make it go one more season. So they did that. They did it. Yeah.
Good
Never a bad
job.
idea to just throw in Heather Graham. Never a bad idea.
I mean, she's great. You don't like Heather Graham?
I just don't think she's a great actress. I think she's one of those people that it's like, I'm very aware that you're acting right now, and I'm like sucked into your character whatsoever.
Rob Lowe was in 6 episodes of this show.
Yeah, see?
Over the course of like 3 years.
Whoa. Yeah, supposedly it was known for some bigger cameo stuff.
Anthony Kiedis.
Wouldn't it be funny if the Red Hot Chili Peppers tried to sue them, and then they lost, and then they were like, well, "Can I at least like be in the show?"
Yeah, it's a.
And they put them all in like one episode. Like, yeah, sure, whatever. Cool. We didn't go to court, so it didn't cost us any money because we just told you the one thing you didn't do, and you were like, "Oh yeah,
Weird,
cool." So, I mean, before we get into predictions, I suppose we gotta ask, hey Joe, you gonna watch this show?
Let's see.
Think about it though.
Pluses.
Interesting.
David Duchovny's in it. It's available. It's on Hulu, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Apparently, is Showtime have a thing with Hulu that you can watch their stuff?
Yeah.
You stream their shit.
They must.
I just read a Wall Street Journal article that is talking about all the like different streaming things that are about to pop up, and all your favorite shows are going away to different things. Like Parks and Rec is going to what is that show on NBC?
Yeah,
it's going on to their thing, so it's going to disappear from stuff.
It'll be very curious to see what happens when like CBS, NBC, blah blah blah, all really try to like lean into their streaming. Like hey, no one's gonna watch our show. People stopped watching TV on TV, so now like tune in and watch it, whatever. But you have to pay for hours, and it's like, I think what's
1 million things.
I mean, I think some people are gonna do some things, but at the same time, it's going to turn into that like cable. So it's just cable again then.
I mean, you know what's going to happen. It's just everyone's just going to pirate everything. You know how easy it is to just pirate stuff?
Right, yeah.
Like right now it's like easy to just be like, fine, I'll give Disney $10 and just do it legally. Fine. But
it's like
if you couldn't, or if it was more expensive, everyone's just going to torrent that shit.
Exactly. It's just going to go back to the early 2000s basically.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's really crazy to think it's like so obvious like this is going to happen if you tried to split everything up.
Yeah. The only reason people don't pirate shit, it's not for morals. It's just for convenience. They don't want to look around for stuff. So
it's way easier to give Netflix $12 a month than to download every episode of The Office. Like that's it. I think The Office is still like the most watched thing on like Netflix.
Makes sense.
But it's like going away and it's going to wherever it is like streaming thing on like 2021 or something like that.
Is leaving too.
Yeah, like next year.
Good.
But it's going
good.
But it's like I don't know.
I was paging through Netflix and they have like their different named like categories, and they have one now that's casual watch. And The Office is in there. It's like, okay, see, these are shows you literally just put on if you don't actually want to watch it.
Yeah.
You're just not paying attention at
Trying
all.
to do a puzzle.
It's just like well, it's like my grandma just had AM radio playing all the time, like in her house, just so somebody would talk to you, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah. And new white noise.
And you just turn on the
machine.
Office. I mean, I'll just I'll do that.
I think it's just funny that there are shows they've specifically like deemed for that purpose.
I mean,
I think I've said it before, but it'd be great if there was like just a shuffle button. Just give me a random episode of The Office. Like I don't want to start a season. Just give me an episode.
I want to listen to this album, but it's a show, and I would just shuffle. I don't care.
Yeah,
I would do that with Arrested Development all the time. I do it myself, like you know, sometimes. Just like this one, I guess. Let's get to predictions because
wait, so you are watching this show, Joe? That cut you off
fully
20 minutes ago.
Joe's gonna watch all of it before next week and report back. I mean, God, I love David Duchovny. I really wanted to like this show, but like I don't find anything redeeming about the 2 episodes we watched.
It's just not X-Files.
No,
not Mulder.
No, very few things.
What if there was like an alien subplot in like seasons 2 through 6, and we just never saw it?
I would watch. I would watch I would watch some of that just to see. But I'm sure there's
a little bit of that show.
Yeah. Okay. So predictions.
I had a cemetery scene. There was not. That Hank dies later. He did not.
Well, maybe that plane crashed. We don't know.
Maybe.
They never make it to their daughter's wedding.
Yikes.
That
would have been a better show.
I had that Becca writes a book, which she did not. And then I had one more thing that I don't remember what it was.
Okay.
Sure, if I think of it.
Sure, it was great.
You forgot to bring your paper into the room,
did.
I see.
If I think of it, I'll let you know, but I'm pretty sure it's at 0 points.
Fair enough. Well, I said Hank has a movie coming out based on his new book. No. I said he wrote a book called Fuck, but apparently he wrote a book called Californication.
Yeah.
We saw that in the intro thing.
Yeah.
Californication by Hank Moody.
Do the pre-credits.
So no. I said he was married to Karen. I might be 1 season off from that, but it ended.
Yeah.
So no. And then I'm going to work for this one a little bit. I don't know if you'll agree, but I said
0.
I said no Becca. And technically, she's not in the episode except for in a dream.
The dream sequence. I think she's in it.
Oh, you're right.
The only part, I mean, she's in the show, but she's not. She's like talked about, but she wasn't actually in this episode.
Yeah,
but she was in a dream.
I say she's in the show.
Yeah, I mean, we saw her character.
Yeah. All right. I was just hoping that maybe it was a dream and I win.
That was like a hard 0.5 for me.
Yeah, my other straight predict was that there was a Red Hot Chili Peppers reference.
Oh yeah.
which there was not.
Didn't catch it.
Yeah.
It was a deep cut if it was. Or it wasn't, because I stopped listening to them after 2007 or whatever.
What do you got, Jimmy?
What was the live one? Okay, I had number 1, Hank is getting married. Nope, Becca was. So close. Becca's graduating college or graduated college. Didn't see any of that. Charlie's divorced. Apparently they're still together. They're just really, really effed up.
They're getting indecent.
Ooh.
And then I had Hank has a big book out or coming out, and apparently he just writes letters while driving on the freeway almost to the airport. Stops in the middle of the road and just ditches his car with the car door open. That almost made me more upset than the car being there.
Yeah, why wouldn't you shut it? I
just shut the door, man.
I literally thought just shut the door
Common
because,
courtesy.
like, what if you come back?
Yeah.
You know?
Like, you left it in the lane. Also, like, if you stopped there, like, you couldn't, like, pulled off the
car's gonna,
actual
like, drive
road.
around,
Like, have you never driven a vehicle?
It's just hints of old Hank, you know? He didn't change. He's just hiding who he really is. Bad piece of
he
shit
didn't
human.
bang anyone's, like, wife in this episode.
Yeah. Or any children.
I was really surprised it was Joe who brought that up. That's great. Yeah.
So good progress.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Progress. All right. Well, that's it. That's Californication. Hope you guys enjoyed the show as much as we did.
Woo.
Hope you dream of Californication.
If you want to make show suggestions, you can do that at FNL Podcast on the Gmails or on the Twitters.
Clearly, we need some.
Yeah.
If you like Californication, come tell us why. Tell us why we're wrong.
I mean, yeah, I would actually legitimately want to know if there's like a redeeming factor about this show.
We're going to hear from like David Duchovny's burner Twitter account.
I hope so.
David, if you're listening, tell me why an X-Files fan like me should like Californication.
And get to a meeting, man.
Because you're the only reason
Sex
I'm
addict.
here. Is Gillian Anderson in this show at some point?
Ooh.
Yeah,
Probably
see?
not.
We're all in.
I'd watch that episode.
Yeah. So let us know. That is
Especially
all
if
we
they
have.
finally. Never mind. Let's go.
They do it.
Well,
it's
implied.
implied.
It's implied.
So we'll see you next week on another First and Last. Goodbye.